Vox fête en 2007 ses 50 ans d'existence. La marque, célèbre pour ses amplis à lampe, a marqué et influencé profondément l'histoire de la musique. En compilant anecdotes et documents d'époque, Jimmy Elliott a réalisé l'un des ouvrages les plus complets sur l'histoire de la firme. Pour Guitar Part, il revient sur les principaux événements qui ont marqué l'épopée Vox.
Hello Guitar Parts, my name is Jim Elliott. I'm the author of the upcoming book Vox Amps, the JMI Years, and I'd like to show you the display we did for the 2007 Korg 50th anniversary of Vox. We start over here with Dick Denny's workbench. This is a recreation based on our best research of what his workbench looked like in 1957 when he was designing the AC-15. We've got a lot of bits from the time, including the chassis of the oldest known surviving AC-15. It was serial number 3537. If you have an older one, I'd love to know about that. In the background, we also have a Univox. This is the power section for the keyboard that was very popular that Jennings Musical Industries brought out prior to the amplifier. Moving over here, we have a photograph on the wall of the production line in 1967. This is January of 67. And then in front of it we have a real amp in the same situation. Vox at the time was a final assembly point, which meant that chassis would come in from a variety of sources, cabinets would come in from a variety of sources, and they would be assembled along with the speakers at the Dartford, or in this case, the Erith plant. This was made, it's a Perspex amp, which is the English for plexiglass or lucite. This was done up for the 1964 Russell Hotel show in London. This is the first time it's been shown in America, and perhaps one of the first times it's been shown since then. Above it we have some lovely photographs of trade shows in the 60s. We have the Namm show in 1965, Russell Hotel in 63, 67, and a number of other shows. Over here we have some other pieces. These are not the ones that were actually used by the artist, but they were the same batch. In the front we have a TV front AC-15 in charcoal in the two-tone color. This was the same as used by the Shadows in 1960 rather. They had a whole back line of matching ones of these. In the back we have an AC-15 twin. This is in fawn, and this one was within a month or two of the production of John Lennon's first amp, Vox amp. He bought it on July 27th, 1962 and used it later that night. That amp was used on 4 songs, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, Anytime at All, and P.S. I Love You. Only 4 songs. Played a lot in 1962. In the back we have an AC-100. You can see that this one we've done up to be the same as Pete Townsend of The Who. He decorated one of his, he had several, with a Union Jack flag. The Who was special because they were the only artist licensed group to have their loan privileges rescinded. In other words, they tore up so many amps that people at Vox figured they'd go broke if they stayed with The Who, and said, no more, we're cutting you off, you can't have any more free amps. In front of that, this one down here is a 730. This is the hybrid amp that was made in 1966. This means it had a solid state or transistor front end, power preamp section, and then 2-valve power section at the end. The 730 was especially significant because it was used all over the Sgt. Pepper album. John played guitar through it, George played guitar through it, Paul played guitar and bass through it. The bass part, too, with a little help from my friends, was played on an amp just like this. Going back a bit in time, we have a 63 Vox T60. This was the transistorized bass amp that they brought out. It was a very, very good idea, and they were very much wanted to be the future. The problem was that the technology wasn't there to support them, so it didn't do very well. Paul McCartney played one of these in the first part of 1963, and probably half of all the British bands played these or a foundation bass. This is a recreation of a 1966 American mom and pop music store. And we have, you can see, this is the man who owns it, runs the counter, and he's ready to take your orders with the old style phone. This is the days when one line, a normal phone, was plenty enough. You could do all your business with that. You didn't need cell phones and multi-lines. And then instead of a computer, he has a check writing machine or order writing machine. And that's basically everything is done up by hand with a pen, makes its own copy for accounting. Actually a very efficient system. We have some Vox guitars on the wall. We have a Phantom 6 on the left in black, a Phantom 4 bass in the center in white, and a Mark III on the right. The other two are originals. This Mark III is a new-made copy. This is just like the one that Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones used. Our last Vox guitar is on the wall. It's a Serenader, one of Vox's entry-level acoustic guitars. Down in the case we have several nice pieces. We have in the center a a percussion king, which is basically all of the effects from the Hammond organs, all of the drum and percussion effects put into arguably one of the first drum machines. To the left we have a Vox Student, once again an entry-level amp. These were often packaged with a Vox Student model guitar. To the right of that we have a tone bender. This is an original one. This, through an AC30, was the sound Jack Beck used on most of his Yardbirds songs. We have Vox volume pedals. We have the little striped bass cases that if you bought a Vox guitar, it would have a little wrench for adjusting the truss rod, a polishing cloth, and a few other little bits. Then we have the Vox treble booster and bass booster. They also made a distortion booster, very, very popular. A Vox Python strap. John Lennon used one and popularized them. His was black. This is the rarer brown. Then going up, we have a Vox Pathfinder. This is, once again, an American amp. This particular one is from '66 and is the all transistor model. Then we have to the left of that a Vox string display. These are recreations. We had a couple of original packs and reference on the others, so for the display we reproduced and recreated the whole stand. This is a Vox pacemaker. This is an American amp from '65. This is all tube. Above it a Vox Escort, which is a very nice practice amp. It was made to be portable so that it can be used on batteries or plugged into the wall. And then down here we have something. This was a noble experiment that failed. This was a all transistorized guitar amplifier. The idea was with an AC30 weighing 65 pounds, it was felt by the head of the company, Tom Jennings, that guitarists would want a lighter amp, something that they could carry more easily. So this used the same amplifier section as the T60, all transistorized, and instead of two 12-inch Celestions, it used three smaller 10-inch ELACs. It didn't sound particularly good, and people decided that they would rather carry the heavier amp and have the better sound. We have a special edition today only. We have three early AC-15s. We have the one on the left, which is from 1960. This is the style that the new Korg 50th anniversary is based on. Wonderful amp. Then we have a 1961 in fawn. You can see how the styling changed from the old style TV front to the split front design, which is what is used up until today. And then the third one in black is from early '63. It's also an AC-15, and it's the bass edition, which in essence means it had a couple of values changed on a couple of the parts. This is the book that's coming out, Vox Amplifiers, the JMI Years. It should be out in the summer. Thank you very much. I appreciate being on with your magazine, and I look forward to seeing you again. Au revoir.